Hare Krishna.
Very good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
एष साधो चर्मो भवानाम् आसादितस्ते मद अनुग्रहो यात् यन्मां लोकान् रहौ सृजन्ताम् दृष्ट्या ददृश्वान् विशदानुवृत्त्या. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go to the synonyms. This is a really beautiful verse, really nectarian verse. Saha, that, eshaha, of those. Sadhu, O honest one. Charama, the ultimate. Bhavanam, of all your incarnations as Vasu. Asaditaha, now achieved. Te, unto you. Mat, my. Anugraha, mercy. Yat, as it is. Yat, because. Mam, me. Nrlokan, the planets of the conditioned souls. Raha, in seclusion. Utsrujantam, while quitting. Dishtya, by seeing. The Drishwan, what you have seen. Vishada Anuvritya, by unflinching devotion. Translation and purport. O honest one, your present life is the last and the supermost, because in this term of life you have been awarded my ultimate favor. Now you can go to my transcendental abode, Vaikunta, by leaving this universe of conditioned living entities. Your visit to me in this lonely place, because of your pure and unflinching devotional service, is a great boon for you. Purport. When a person is fully conversant with knowledge of the Lord, as far as can be known by a perfect living entity in the liberated state, he is allowed to enter into the spiritual sky where the Vaikunta planets exist. The Lord was sitting in a lonely place just about to disappear from the vision of the inhabitants of this universe. And Uddhava was fortunate to see him even at that time and thus receive the Lord's permission to enter Vaikunta. The Lord is everywhere at all times, and his appearance and disappearance are merely the experience of the inhabitants of a particular universe. He is just like the sun. The sun does not appear or disappear in the sky. It is only in the experience of man that in the morning the sun rises and in the evening the sun sets. The Lord is simultaneously both in Vaikunta and everywhere within and without Vaikunta. Jai Om Ajnana Thimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Sapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Satchinandana Swami Nityanamne Nityananda Pripreshta Dina Badre Kripa Kabirthari Sankirtana Garinam Sharanam. Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining. And thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak, primarily for my own purification, and hopefully I can share some things that I have heard and read, which is pleasing to the devotees and to the Lord. And before I begin, I want to seek all of your permission and blessings so I can try to repeat. So this is a very beautiful verse. The Lord is explaining to Uddhava, actually, if you see in these past verses, about the purpose of the Lord's visit, how that was successful. And now, he's granting permission to Uddhava to go back to the spiritual world. This is a very beautiful verse. A little bit about Uddhava before we go into the details of this verse. You know, Uddhava's features are very similar to Krishna. Yeah. So similar that when Uddhava, took that letter or message of Krishna to the gopis, uh, what did the gopis think? They thought Krishna himself came. They were welcoming him to Vrindavan. He is so similar to Krishna. And according to the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, outside of Vrindavan, there is nobody as intimate to Krishna as Uddhava. Not even Arjuna, in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita
Yes.
says. Yeah. So, and Uddhava was incredibly knowledgeable, and he served as a minister. The first thing when I read these words, you remember the verse says, "Oh sadhu, sadhu," and Prabhupada gives. What is the meaning of the word sadhu? Prabhupada gives in this verse, "Oh honest one." Yeah, honest one. So we'll talk about that. But he was a minister, he served as a minister. He was very knowledgeable because Krishna would go and ask advice to him. It just reminded me that word sadhu, oh honest one. So he was so intimate, so much that Krishna chose, as I said, Uddhava to deliver his message. Of course, the other reason was also that Krishna wanted Uddhava to understand the mood of this residents of the Vrindavan before he went back, you know. So, and he was so captivated by their love for Krishna, you know. So Krishna sent him to experience that Braj Prema. And when Krishna was about to, after the Kurukshetra war was over, you know, um, um, Krishna informed Uddhava, right, that I am leaving and Kali Yuga will begin, you know. Uh, and when Kali Yuga will begin, it will not be good. So I want you to be safe and protected. Mm. And so what does he tell him to do? Take the association of who? Anyone remembers?
Naranarayan.
Yes, Naranarayan Rishis. Thank you. In the Himalayas, in the mountains of the Himalayas. Huh? And Prabhupada explains there that, association of devotees will protect one in Kali Yuga. Hmm? And imagine, Uddhava was so intimate and so dear to Krishna. And imagine the news of Krishna leaving. What were Uddhava's feelings? He was totally shattered. Huh? And he tried to follow Krishna's words as his life and soul. Yeah. He tried. He tried, but he couldn't stay there. He tried, but he couldn't stay there. And then what did he do? He started looking for Krishna everywhere. Yeah. Uh, and he searched, and he finally found Krishna. And that's when Krishna spoke the Uddhav Gita. Yeah. And after that, Uddhav was alone in the forest meditating. Uh, and also, that's when Vidura was on pilgrimage. Vidura found Uddhava and Maitreya was there, right? Uh, so, and we know how, and we'll see, later on how Uddhava was so um, emotional, transcendental emotions were coming, his eyes, his eyes, he was tears from his eyes, his voice was choking, he wanted to speak but couldn't speak. uh, so um, those things will come later, but here in this verse particularly, uh, he's saying, "Oh sadhu, Saheshaha." Saheshaha means in this life. Mm. Last word, in yesterday's word, sorry, I couldn't join. I had another class, but he said in last life, what happened? Anybody remembers? Who was he? Whoever was in the class yesterday, maybe.
Vasu? Vasu?
Yes, yes, he was one of the Vasus, the Ashta Vasus, right? There are 8 Vasus. Yeah. Huh? So, O Vasu, I know from within your mind what you desired. When the Vasus and the demigods were responsible for expanding the universal affairs and they performed these sacrifices, at that time, as Vasu, uh, he had a desire to associate with the Lord. So, Lord is saying, okay, that was your desire. You had a strong desire, you know. And so now in this life, uh, your incarnation as Uddhava through this partial expansion of the Vasu will be your last life. uh, And you became transcendentally very attached to the Lord in this life, we can see. In one of the morning conversations, Balimardan Prabhu was with Srila Prabhupada in Hawaii, and he asks in this context, Balimardan Prabhu says, oh, Srila Prabhupada, yesterday I was reading about, how the talks between Uddhava, Maitreya, and Krishna, and it is described that Uddhava previously was one of the 8 Vasus who desired to associate with the Lord. And Prabhupada responded, yes. And then Balimardan Prabhu asked the question, so what is the exact position of the Vasus? And Prabhupada says, Vasus, they are demigods. Before appearance of Krishna, some of these exalted demigods, like one of these Vasus, which is Uddhava, uh, these exalted demigods were ordered to come and arrange for his arrival. So Uddhava arrived, and along with him, many others arrived. So they were coming from heavenly planets, Prabhupada explains. Like Bhishma Dev was also one of the Vasus, right? Out of the 8 Vasus. So, coming back, the point is, O Uddhava, you have achieved this ultimate favor from me, which is very, very difficult. What is that ultimate favor? The permission to go back home, back to Godhead. It's difficult, but it has been very easily awarded to you. You quit this body, leave this material world, and go back to my eternal abode. Uh, uh, and the question comes up, why? Why did he get this permission? Why? So your specific visit, in these words, in the translation, your specific visit to my place and your seclusive darshan, right? Lord was all by himself, ready to leave. And can you imagine somebody getting exclusive darshan in solitude? Nobody is there, just Uddhava and Krishna. And Krishna is ready to go back. Huh? So why did Uddhava get that great fortune? How? It's also explained in this verse, because of his unflinching, pure devotional service. Because of your pure bhakti, now you quit here and go back to Vaikuntha. And this will be your last life in this material world. This is what the Lord personally communicated to Uddhava. Hmm. And so Prabhupada is explaining what is the qualification of entering into the Vaikuntha planets. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, when when a person is fully conversant with knowledge of the Lord, this is directly from the purport, the first line of the purport, Prabhupada writes, when a person is fully conversant with knowledge of the Lord, as far as can be known by a perfect living entity in the liberated state, he is allowed to enter into the spiritual sky where the Vaikuntha planets exist. Yeah. So his Prabhupada is explaining here that what is the qualification? Yeah. So to get exclusive association, solitary association of the Lord is considered as the greatest favor bestowed upon by the Lord at the last stages of one's life. Uh, this the words from the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, text 55. Uh, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gnatva vishate tad anantaram. So similar thing, Prabhupada writes in this verse, or uh, Krishna says, when one engages in pure devotional service and is able to understand the truth, tattvataha, who is in full consciousness of the Lord, when that person quits his body, uh, he enters into my abode. Right? Same thing, qualification of going back. And because of pure devotional service, a devotee can understand the transcendental qualities and opulences of the Supreme Lord in truth. Uh, uh, and then one becomes eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. Uh, Right? What happens when we understand the absolute truth, right? This is also there in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deha punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna. So when you understand about the appearance, his qualities, janma karma cha me divyam, that they are transcendental, then punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, you will not take birth again. So Lord gave his mercy to Uddhava. He gave him permission to go back. So it also reminded me of in the first canto. You all are following me so far?
Oh, yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So in the first canto, also we read about, how this happens. Narada Muni describes his past life to Vyasadeva and about how he attained spiritual body, right? Uh, Briefly, Narada describes that when his time of death came, just like lightning and illumination occur simultaneously, when I gave up this material body, I at once attained spiritual body. Uh, and he ascended by this permission of the Lord. So, um, permission, I wanted to spend some time on this word permission. I also do so many activities in this body. Uh, if I realize or not, they all require Lord's sanction or permission. I may not be conscious of many things that is going on within my body, right? Uh, for example, the food. I'm just, honoring prasadam and it's going into my mouth, into my stomach. But am I doing anything specific to digest the food? No,
No,
no, but digestion is happening, right? I'm not specifically going in there, okay, this acid break this food or this heat. No, it's happening. Uh, uh, or blinking my eyes,
no, no,
or eyelids, my eyelids, I'm talking and they are blinking unconsciously, you know, like my circulatory system. I'm not going in there and telling, my circulatory system where there is more blood needed, where there is less blood. No, I
no.
have no idea what is happening also. Forget about what to do. I'm not doing, but they're still happening, just happening,
That's true.
right? So, point is, Lord's permission and sanction is needed from our side, from my side, what I need to do to transfer to Vaikuntha. Mm. So yes, we need permission of the Lord, of course, as is given to Uddhava here. But before that, uh, I should have a desire to go back, right? I should have a desire to associate with the Lord,
Yeah.
right? To for Lord's association. Then there is activity. Then I will perform some devotional service. And then through that devotional service, I can make a humble plea through Guru to Krishna, yeah, for Lord's association. Then Lord is pleased and gives permission. Uddhava uh, is a Nitya Siddha devotee. Uh, uh, and he's in this service situation. Uh, uh, I may be also in service situation, but how strongly am I desiring Krishna's association? I may be doing devotional service, but how mindful am I of this opportunity? I'm also getting the opportunity to directly associate with Krishna. How? How?
We need Krishna's mercy.
By chanting his holy
By
names,
chanting it
right?
only.
There's no difference. By we all, I'm hearing, studying, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, or performing deity worship. But how conscious am I? And how desiring am I to, for that, to be the recipient of that gift?
That's true.
So Uddhava's wish was that he just wanted to be in the Lord's association, and the Lord granted him permission. Yeah. And then Prabhupada also makes a point of Krishna being like sun, right? In this purport, Prabhupada writes, the Lord is everywhere at all times, and his appearance and disappearance are merely the experience of the inhabitants of a particular universe. He is just like the sun. The sun does not appear or disappear in the sky. It's only in the experience of man that in the morning the sun rises and in the evening the sun sets. So Prabhupada is uh, saying that, just like sun is always there, right? Like that, Lord is everywhere at all times, but we cannot see. Expert devotees can see. Uh, Expert devotees, pure devotees, they can experience presence of Lord anywhere. Uh, when Srila Prabhupada was in London in the very beginning years, uh, the devotees arranged a big hall for him to give a lecture, and very, very few people came, and devotees were, disappointed. Uh, that not hardly there were any people there. And Srila Prabhupada said, didn't you see Lord Brahma? Didn't you see Narada? They were here. Point is, pure devotees make the place Vaikunta. Naham tisthami Vaikunte yoginam hridayeshu va tatra tisthami Narada yatra gayanti madbhakta. So my Lord Vishnu says, my dear Narada, actually I do not reside in my abode, Vaikunta, nor do I reside in the hearts, yoginam hridayeshu, within the hearts of the yogis. Uh, but I reside in that place, tatra tisthami Narada, where my pure devotees chant my holy names and discuss my form, pastimes, and qualities. Yatra gayanti madbhakta. Yeah. So, because the Lord is present in the form of his transcendental vibrations, in the holy name, he is present. So
Which sloka is that, Prabhu?
this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Is it? I think it's in the 7th canto, 5th chapter, 23rd text, where Prabhupada gives this reference. Maybe somebody remembers where exactly this is from. I know it's in the 7-5-23. Does anybody know where exactly this is coming from?
Prabhuji, I think it's from Narad Pancharatra, the Puran which is given, but it's, yeah, Prabhupada mentioned this particular shloka in so many purports in Srimad Bhagavatam, but the origin is Krishna is talking with Narada in this particular, and I am 60% sure, honestly, that it's from Narad Sutra, and I will give you the exact thing because I have researched on this too.
Okay,
So
thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So,
Thank you very much, Ma.
so, wherever the Lord's glories are chanted, that place becomes Vaikunta. Vaikunta. Kunta means fear and anxiety, and Vaikunta means free from fear and anxiety. Yeah. The point is, the Lord is present everywhere. Yeah. Um, and another example Prabhupada gives is about the Lord's energies. In the eyes of the Lord, all energies are transcendental. In my eyes, I may see it as material energy. Uh, but when we engage these material energies in the service of the Lord, then what happens? My senses are purified. And then we use those purified senses to see and serve the Lord. Then, when in that consciousness, when I touch the Lord, serve the deity form of the Lord, I'll have a conversation with the Lord because my senses are now purified, transcendental. Yeah. So, point is, being in the association of the Lord, yeah, is a matter of consciousness because He's already everywhere anyway. Yeah.
Karma
So,
Puranam.
being conscious, yeah. So He manifests Himself to our conscious awareness in reciprocation to our desire to have that association with Him. Yeah. But I'm talking about myself. Sometimes I become complacent. Sometimes we see, or sometimes you see people saying this, oh, yeah, I'm very pious, I'm very virtuous person, you know. And people sometimes, when there is suffering, but which is manageable and tolerant, uh, uh, and then we think, oh, I'm a nice person, I don't hurt anybody, I don't harm anybody, I'm virtuous, I'm pious. And then when there's not much suffering, then we think it's okay, right? It's okay to continue. But to be in Lord's association, we need a lot more than that. A constant desire to engage in devotional service. So, and Prabhupada is writing here in this purport, the visual manifestation is about to be withdrawn. Meaning he'll perform his pastimes in another universe. And before he's uh, going to another place to perform his pastimes, he's awarding this to Uddhava. Yeah. Um, so, when a living entity becomes a pure devotee without any desires for sense gratification on the material platform and without any desire or inclination to merge into the Brahman effulgence or speculating about the absolute truth, then he is allowed to enter into the supreme abode, supreme dham of the Lord. And um, so Uddhava is one of the eternal associates of the Lord, and a plenary portion of Uddhava was one of the 8 Vasus, as we were reading in yesterday's verse. So we can see from this here, the Lord knew this, what was Uddhava in his previous life. The Lord knew this. How? Because he is present in the heart of all living entities as Paramatma, the super consciousness, right? So I may forget. So what this something what I can learn from this is I may forget what desires I had in my past life, but Krishna doesn't forget. Uh, and he had a desire in his past life to associate with the Lord, and Krishna fulfilled it. Krishna doesn't forget. Yeah. And this also brings up another point about uh, the free will of the living entity or of a devotee. You know, uh, you see here, Lord is congratulating Uddhava for visiting him. Yeah, uh, Uddhava could have been occupied with something else. But because of his strong desire and unflinching devotional service, uh, he came. He couldn't remain separated from the Lord. And Krishna is congratulating Uddhava. Oh, you made the right decision to come here. Uh, that means he exercised his free will, right? He could have been anywhere, he could have gone anywhere. But he came to Krishna. Yeah. Uh, uh, if Lord had ordained him to go there, meaning superimposing his will, what will be the point? Why would Lord congratulate Uddhava if he didn't have a choice? You follow the question?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Like if I order my hand to come this side, then I congratulate my hand. Hand is just an instrument, it has no free will,
Yeah.
right? But when someone comes on their own accord, then I congratulate. Uh, so, living entities have a choice, a free will. One can either surrender or not surrender to Krishna. And even in surrender, we have free will on how to serve Him.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
this gives pleasure to the Lord. See, being God is not easy, right? Sometimes, we see people say, oh, if I were God, I would arrange like this. If I were God, I would have done like that. Sometimes people say, if I was God, there wouldn't be any suffering in this world. Have you heard this?
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh, we shouldn't be going through all these miseries in life. Then, if you were to ask them, okay, how would you arrange? Oh, I'll automatically give all bliss to all living entities. What bliss? Meaning, can they associate with you if you were God? Yes. Yes, sure. But what if someone doesn't want to associate with you? Then what will you do? Right? You follow? What if someone wants to live in this material world? Oh, no, 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 no suffering for you. You don't have a choice. That means there's no free will for that person, right? So one should have, so this is free will. So, uh, so Krishna wants, yes, Krishna wants the living entities to come back to the spiritual world, associate with him, serve him. Uh, but Krishna knows everyone doesn't want to do that. Of course, he encourages everyone to do that, but he doesn't force. Like a father raises his son to be a good human being, right? Be a good individual. Uh, he may send him to give to good school, give good education, everything. But if the child still wishes to misuse his independence, let's say if the son keeps running away from the home, what can the father do? I can't force my son, right? Or maybe if the father has a lot of money, he can have a security guard with a gun or some machine. But will the father be happy? And people will say, what are you doing with your son? Why are you doing this? This is so cruel, right? People will criticize the father. Uh, and then they'll say it's better to let the son run away. So that's how Krishna arranges. So the choice is there. Do I want to associate with the Lord and be a good son, or rebel and go off into the material world? Yeah. And then I was, you know, also hearing about the 11th canto Uddhav Gita, where Krishna spoke to Uddhava about the principles of Bhakti Yoga and conclusions to Uddhava, and Uddhava glorifies and prays to the Lord, that see, Lord does not discriminate anyone who engages in devotional service, uh, whoever that is. uh, Lord is only seeing the bhakti in that person who surrenders to Him. And so Lord is not concerned with the externals. So Uddhava is glorifying like this, and the Lord reciprocates, oh Achyuta, you know, uh, or Uddhava is saying, oh Achyuta, oh infallible Lord, most wonderful thing of those who intimately approach you, you have who have completely surrendered to you, whole and exclusive shelter. uh, all demigods are waiting, when you will come and touch your lotus feet. But Lord is more connected, with who? With someone like Hanuman, like over among all monkeys, right? So Lord was giving more personal attention. So the wise in one such category, meaning who is fully surrendered to the Lord. Yeah. Uh, and in this world is just some of those verses that I am just sharing. In this world, everyone aspires for dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and wants success in these. Right? Everyone is looking after is running after this. Uh, uh, it said, but whatever endeavors people make, if they take your shelter, anyone who takes your shelter can easily achieve all these what people are struggling for so many lifetimes. So hard to achieve. But if that Nara takes shelter of Narayan, everything is bestowed upon that person. Yeah. So he's glorifying the Lord. You're so merciful to your devotees, O Lord. Uh, uh, um, and you know, even if one is, or one who is fully surrendered to you, who is expert and learned, transcendental philosopher, who is completely dedicated to you, always thinking of you, and they cannot exhibit their indebtedness to you. Can anyone repay the Lord? Lord is giving us from time immemorial everything, right? That runa, that's what they say, debt, and that cannot be paid off. uh, so Lord appears internally and internally as super soul and externally as a guru to deliver all the fallen souls who are suffering in this material world. Yeah. And it is a Lord who is giving intelligence. Matta smritir gnanam apohanam cha. Right? Without the Lord giving us intelligence, we cannot go back. It's impossible for the living entity to go back. And Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give you that intelligence to come back to me. It's all Uddhava's prayers, and then the Lord reciprocates to him that that these auspicious activities of devotional service to me, any person who faithfully executes this process, he will be able to conquer death and come back to me. Right? Otherwise, we cannot conquer death. Impossible. But Lord says you perform bhakti and you can conquer. So do everything for me without any doubt, with your mind and intelligence fixed on me, and surrender to me and engage in bhakti. So then Krishna guarantees. So just few points I wanted to share. I'll stop here. If there's any other comments or questions, corrections, I know there are a lot of exalted devotees on the call. Maybe please share. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very nice class. This is Vrindavaneshwari.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You had mentioned that Uddhav, I'm checking myself because I'm not, I'm understanding this. You had said that Uddhava was one of the 8 Vasus. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
it's partial Go ahead. Sorry.
I came a little bit late, so I was just wanting to, can you explain the significance of that, one of the 8 Vasus?
So if you see in the previous words, Oh Vasu, I know from within your mind what you desired in the days of yore when the Vasus and other demigods responsible for expanding the universal affairs performed sacrifices. So my understanding is that they're also part of the administration, to maintain the affairs of this material universe. And they were performing sacrifices along with the demigods for the Lord to appear.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, Prabhupada writes in the purport also. Yeah. Was that your specific question?
Yes, Prabhu, I came a bit late, so I missed that part. So I was just wanting to make sure I understood it properly. Thank you for repeating that. I appreciate it.
So Uddhava, in his past life was acting as one of the Vasus.
But in that also, Krishna is saying you particularly wanted that. That's why I gave you this.
Yes.
So that also needs, if we don't need, he won't do anything. That we have to go in that path, bhakti path.
Yeah, I mean, I see Acharya Prabhu, Madhavi Gaurangi Mataji, Dronacharya Prabhu, many devotees. Please correct, add.
Wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you so much for inspiring all of us. It was such a wonderful class.
Thank you, Mataji. So Dronacharya Prabhu is asking, is this the same group of? Yes. Out of the 8 Vasus, one of them was Bhishma Dev. Yes. Were cursed by Vashishta. Yeah. Okay. No comments, no questions.
Uddhava served all the time with Krishna. He was with Krishna. Is that right?
Yes.
He was chariot or something I heard. I don't know. Is that right?
In Dwaraka, he
In
served.
Dwarka. Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring up Prabhupada writes here, or in this verse, maybe one of you have some thoughts. It says he goes back to Vaikuntha. Doesn't say Goloka Vrindavan.
Yeah. Ah,
Uh,
that is also one thing. But Vaikuntha, after
there is a
after la-
spiritual,
after
yeah.
a while, he has to come back, or he has to
No.
stay there forever.
So it's spiritual world, Vaikuntha is, but knowing that he went to the uh, to to meet with, to see the gopis and learn from them the mood of the gopis. I was thinking maybe he will, the destination will be Goloka Vrindavan, but here it says Vaikuntha, unless his swarupa, his original identity was to serve in the Vaikuntha planet. Maybe somebody has some thoughts on that.
Prabhuji, it's also given in 10th canto when Uddhava prayed to Krishna that make me a gulmalata, a creeper in Vrindavan Dham, because I want the dust of the lotus feet of gopis. So it says, Vaishnavacharyas make commentary that Uddhava is still there in the form of creepers, like we hear that Pandavas are also there around Shamakund. So same Uddhava is still living in Vrindavan in the form of creeper. And of course, we all know that there is manifested Vrindavan and one is unmanifested Vrindavan. So I am assuming that Uddhava is there in unmanifested Vrindavan with the gopis as a creeper, Gulmatalata. And yeah, and also Vaikuntha is one of the names for Goloka Vrindavan too. I mean, so
Okay.
yeah, so we have to go by the commentaries what
That's right.
Vaishnavacharyas are saying,
Hmm.
what particular, because lots of commentaries are given by different acharyas, and yeah, so I think that's my
Thank you. Also,
point.
Acharya Prabhu responded, Goloka and Dwarka are also Vaikuntha. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
And in the
Siddha,
sense that they are
Siddha
spiritual
association.
abodes with no material anxieties. Right, yeah.
yeah.
I was I was a little curious about, why it didn't specifically say Goloka.
Yeah, yeah, it's one of the names of Vaikuntha. Goloka is Vaikuntha too, Prabhu. And Uddhava, he's a Nitya Siddha Bhakta, and jab Vasu, one of his lives in one of the kalpas, he became one of the Vasus, and that Vasu was also the expansion of that original Nitya Siddha Bhakta or Uddhava. He was not like, you know, we know that Drona and Dhara, they are the expansions of Yashoda Mai and Nanda Maharaj, who are eternally liberated souls. So eternally liberated souls, they never change like that, but they expand themselves. I mean, that's what it is given in Gopal Champu, that, Nityavit Siddha Bhaktas have the ability to expand themselves. So he was an expansion, Vasu. So Uddhava is Nitya Siddha Bhakta. I
Yeah.
mean, he is always an associate of Lord.
Yeah.
Yes, Acharya Prabhu says the same thing in his um, message here, that and Uddhava as a Nitya Siddha associate of the Lord is also always with him in his appearances in different universes, one after another. Nice. And also I read that when the living entity becomes a pure devotee, before he is transferred to the spiritual world, that there's one more life where he associates with the Lord and his associates in one of the universes where the Lord is performing his pastimes.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes,
Then
Prabhu.
only he goes back to
Mm,
the
yeah.
spiritual.
Yes,
sphere.
because sadhana siddha bhakta, he gets the opportunity to, like in the Rasa Mandala in the Vrindavan, the manifested pastime happened 5,000 years ago. At that time also, there were sadhana siddha gopis also in there. So they are the living entities who got chance to associate with Krishna like that. And Rupa Goswami's Ujjwal Neelamani that defines the different categories of devotee, gopis. So in one particular category, he is defining about the sadhana siddha gopis, that they are the living entities who try to associate with Krishna with austerity like Vedi Bhakti and then Raga Nuga, and then they got the chance to enter
Mm.
like that.
Thank you. Very nice. Jai. So, thank you so much for your participation. Thank you, Acharya Prabhu, for I know you're not able to speak, but thank you so much for your guidance and for the messages. Very grateful. And thank you, Madhavi Gaurangi Mataji. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you very much, Mata Prabhu.
Yeah, we'll end
Thank
here.
you very much, Madhavi Gauri. Yes, a lot of things we need to know. There's other books also. We keep reading, we'll get knowledge from that. Padma Purana, and then this, what is that, Buddha Gita, and other things.
Yeah.
Very
Bye.
nice class, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Lot of information in that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I want to say very quickly. There is a song about Narad Muni. Narad Muni Bhajay Veena.
Veena, yeah.
Yeah, Radhika Raman Name. Udit Haya. Amani Udit Haya something.
Yeah.
Katu Sange Gaya. So it also says that wherever the Krishna's Geet is going on, among the bhaktas, Krishna descends.
Yes.
That is the.
Yes. That's what we were. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yes. Wherever. That was one of the verses we discussed in today's verse, right? But wherever the Lord's glories are sung, that place is Vaikuntha. That place the Lord is there. And there's no difference between the Lord and his name, form, activities. Right? So wherever
Yeah,
chanting the holy names of Krishna, the Lord is present.
Yeah,
we-
Krishna descends there. It's nice
Yes.
word.
Wonderful.
we got a card from our Guru Maharaj from Vrindavan. We were thinking, they'll say, when I can go and when I can visit Vrindavan. He says, wherever you are there, you are thinking, that is Vrindavan. The way you are thinking, you need to think like that, and that is Vrindavan. That's what he sent a card to us. That's true. If you're really feeling, everybody cannot go to those pilgrimage and do parikrama and other things. So if we are thinking that way, then our bhakti will be there, and then our, what is that, happiness, that, yes, I visited those places. That's all. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you so much for joining. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vancha kalpatarupescha kripa sindhubhyo
Vacha.
vaishnavibhyo namo.